Hey guys, what is going on? It's that time of the year. Everyone is coming out with their World 15s. In fact, here was the official one from World Rugby. I thought it was time for me to weigh in with my choices, so that's what we're going to do in this video. Let's get it started. I am, of course, going to recognize Oxenchair from the Springboks. Look, he's the first prop to ever get nominated for World Rugby Player of the Year. That tells you a lot. Now, arguably, it should have happened a little bit sooner, but this guy, frankly, would have deserved to win the award. His scrum impact is not only undiminished, he seems more destructive than ever. Of course, Malcolm Marx has to be there at hooker. He just won World Rugby Player of the Year. You know, my only gripe with that is, why didn't it happen sooner? I was almost thinking, God, is this like the Lifetime Achievement Academy Award equivalent? Is this Judi Dench winning an Oscar for Shakespeare in Love? Well, no, she was only in that movie for about 8 minutes, whereas Malcolm Marx played most minutes of every single game this year. That's the difference. This guy has typically been a bomb squad stalwart. He has been an impact player. This year, those duties shifted. He's the guy starting for South Africa, and his form actually went to the next level. Tricky with the third prop. You know, it's tempting to go with an all-South African front row. I even considered Alice Genge from England, but I'm going to keep him on my bench. That'll be a separate video, my global bomb squad. Instead, let's go with Tadhg Furlong from Ireland. He is just so experienced, so crafty. Not necessarily the best ball-carrying prop in World Rugby, but at the set piece, I just don't think you get much better stability than that. Let's move on to the locks, and Fabian Holland absolutely has to be there. He's not just the World Rugby Breakthrough Player of the Year. He won the most lineouts of any international player. So this wasn't just a great debut season. You look at the statistics, he was the dominant figure in the lineouts this year. You look at all the stats. He just won clean ball over and over and over again for the All Blacks. Not a vintage year for the All Blacks, despite a 77% winning record, but they had quite a feast of possession in some games, and his reliability at the lineout, plus his ability to disrupt opposition ball, was really so beneficial to the ABs this year. It is tempting to go with Maro Itoje for his leadership, but I'm going to pick this on form. I'm going to go with Tadhg Beirne from Ireland. Again, Mr. Reliable at the line-out, just a well-oiled machine. Also looked at some South African names, but I think they're going to be on my bench. Spoiler alert. Now we're going to move on to the loosies, and this one could be a little bit controversial, but I am actually going for the combination, okay? It's a bit like the midfield. Not just the best out-and-out player, but I'm trying to build a team here that can win. So we look at number 6. Rob Valetini from Australia immediately jumps out to me. Limited body of work this year, disrupted by injury, unfortunately. You also look at Will Skelton, who could play there at 6. You know, obviously he plays at lock for Australia, but man, he's been so impactful when he's been out there. But again, just not quite enough to go on. I am going to go with Siya Kolisi. The leadership just goes from strength to strength. His hunger has not dissipated at all, despite having lifted the Rugby World Cup twice. And I just think that no one gets more out of their troops than him. So not only is he my 6, he is going to captain this team. Next to him, though, it's not going to be Peter Steff, although it was tempting. I'm actually going to go with Ardie Savea. Now, Ardie didn't get nominated for World Rugby Player of the Year, and funnily enough, it was a lot of South African followers who I saw commenting on that. There was a great comment on Instagram saying, hey, I'm a Springbok fan, but what, was Ardie playing tennis all year? Ardie just came up with the clutch plays for the All Blacks. You look at the one time we did beat the Springboks in the last few years, it was at Eden Park this year. If he doesn't get that turnover late in the game, I'm not sure that we hold on and win that game. He just comes up with the clutch plays at the right time. And look at that combination. Do you not want to see Ardie Savea and his brother Siya Kolisi running out there? 6 and 7? I think that would be phenomenal. Moving on to 8. Harry Wilson from Australia is very tempting. Ben Earl from England, very tempting. I'm just going to have to go with Jasper Wiese from South Africa, because his peak form blew everyone else away. You look at his destructiveness against my All Blacks this year. I mean, it was frightening stuff. He just gets the loosies going forward, lays the foundation. He is absolutely destructive with his brawn and his timing too. He has a few silky skills to offset the muscularity of his game. Number 9. Well, normally Antoine Dupont would be in there, but again, injuries have disrupted his season. There are actually some good Aussie halfbacks coming through, and then South Africa has an embarrassment of riches. Originally, I put Cobus Reinach as my halfback, but I am going to go with Cam Roigard from New Zealand. He is transformative for the ABs. They're a different side when he's out there for them. His running game, the size and scope of his box kicking game, the accuracy of his kicking game. He's got defensive qualities too. You look at the way that he stopped a dead certainty try against Scotland. We know about Damien McKenzie's heroics, but if Cam Roigard didn't make that scrambling tackle late in the game against Scotland, man, there's a chance that Scotland was going to get that first ever All Black scalp after 120 years. So another player like Savea who just comes up with the crunch play when it's absolutely needed. At 10, this one was actually easy. One of the first names I wrote down, Sasha Feinberg, Mngomezulu. I think Ireland have two good 10s. I rate Prendergast. I think Crowley's good. Intermac from France, terrific player. Even South Africa, they have Andre Pollard, who's Mr. Reliable. Mani Lebok really went to a new level this year. And, of course, Beauden Barrett, at times, for New Zealand, was fantastic with his game management and his kicking game when he was on song. But for the total package, you just can't go past SFM. And that performance against Argentina, I compared it to Dan Carter against the Lions in 2005. That was a star-is-born moment. That was a coming-of-age performance. This guy's in his early 20s. Can you imagine where he's going to get to? I'm excited to watch it just as a lover of rugby. It's a little bit ominous thinking about him going up against my All Blacks. But I think he'll keep growing, and that's a career I'm really excited to watch blossom. Before I give you the wingers, let's go to the midfield. This was a tough one. There were a lot of good contenders here at 12. Again, though, I'm going to pick a pairing that I think would go well together. I did look at Tuipulotu from Scotland, who obviously is the captain of the Scots, an outstanding player, always gets good go-forward ball. Geordie Barrett's always a possibility running out there at 12, but I'm actually going to go with Santiago Chocobaras from Argentina. Argentina are so greatly improved. They've knocked Australia out of that top 6, so they've set themselves up nicely for a run at the next Rugby World Cup. Mark my words, they're going to be serious contenders. And when I look at Argentina, obviously Pablo Matera gets so much go-forward ball at 6, and he's just a great operator in the set piece. But if you want to look at the backs, Chocobaras always is Johnny on the spot. He is so good at either going over the gain line or getting his players around him into space. So I wanted to see an Argentine player in here, but I don't think I had to shoehorn him in. I think he deserves to be in there. I'm going to put Len Ikitau from Australia at 13. The Wallabies also do deserve an addition to this team. Again, though, how do you go past Jesse Creel? Of course, I looked at Damien Dielende, Jesse Creel as a midfield pairing, Kane and Moody perhaps at 13, but I just think Ikitau is so sharp, so cutting, and in an underperforming Wallabies team, he's always a standout. Let's go to the wingers. At 11, it has to be the Frenchman, BLBRE, nominated for World Rugby Player of the Year for a reason, the most exciting, dynamic player in the Six Nations this year. Also a young fella, so the sky is the limit for him. This was an easy pick, one of the first names I wrote down. 14, I'm going to put Will Jordan there. Now, he did play the last game of the year at 14 for the All Blacks, so, I think he qualifies, even though he's played most of his minutes at 15. Yes, he was tested in the air sometimes, but on counter-attack, there are a few better in the game that I've ever seen, either at wing or fullback. Doug Howlett's all-time try-scoring record for New Zealand. He's getting closer, could hit it next year, certainly by the Rugby World Cup. 49 tries is the goal. You don't get that just from hugging the touchline and waiting for the ball to come to you. This guy creates a lot. His anticipation and timing is phenomenal. And then at 15, I'm going to go with Damian Willemse from South Africa. Yes, I could have put him at 12, but again, looking at combinations here, I like this back three. This back three has everything for me. All right, guys, what do you think of my World 15? I tried to get, a few different nations in there, not just be too biased towards the Springboks and the All Blacks, who I watch the most closely. But I think it's a fairly balanced team, but eager to hear your criticisms or compliments, so sound off in the comments. Guys, send this video to somebody who loves rugby. Like, subscribe. I'll be back for another one real soon. Take it easy. Bye for now.